Readings of Almighty God's words on the pursuit of the truth. How to pursue the truth. 15. C. Bizarreness. After fellowshipping about the manifestations of lecherousness, licentiousness, and sexual provocativeness within deviants in those who are reincarnated from devils, let's fellowship about another manifestation of deviance: bizarreness. The word bizarre encompasses much content, which certainly has some connections to the specific manifestations of bizarreness. Besides being bizarre, there are also manifestations like being supernatural, extreme, and abnormal. These are all deviant manifestations of those who are Satans and devils. These aspects, being bizarre, supernatural, extreme, and abnormal, are things people see in daily life or in their interactions with others from time to time. Let's start with the most severe cases, then discuss moderate ones. In any case, no matter how it manifests, it all involves the nature essence of deviance. The most severe situation is frequently speaking in tongues. This is particularly the case during prayer at gatherings, where they might speak some bizarre tongues that are not the language of any nation and that no one can understand. When this happens, it's no longer the person themselves speaking, but rather them being dominated by another spirit. They themselves don't even know what they're saying. They haven't learned it, nor has anyone taught them, yet in a certain situation, they just speak it out. Sometimes they speak in tongues proactively, sometimes passively, sometimes consciously, sometimes without being aware of it. Isn't this very strange? After they finish speaking, if you ask them to do it again, they can't. If you ask them what they said, they don't know either. This is one kind of situation. There are also people who often hear voices that normal people cannot hear. For example, they might hear someone nearby speaking to them, but others cannot see or hear anyone. In fact, they are conversing and talking with unknown beings. They speak with great enthusiasm, and you can't interrupt them or get a word in. Moreover, the content of their speech is rambling. Words suddenly pop out disconnectedly and without reason. As an onlooker, watching this makes you feel afraid and gives you the creeps. Aren't such manifestations very bizarre? This type of person also frequently sees strange things, things invisible to the naked eye in the material world. For example, some see deceased relatives waving, smiling, or nodding at them, or even greeting them. They become particularly excited after seeing this. There are even some people who frequently see figures in black approaching and trussing them up. They struggle and blurt out, "Release me! I won't go. I'm not going anywhere." People around them ask what's wrong, but they don't sense that anyone is speaking to them and just keep struggling, shouting, "God, save me!" The figures in black are scared away, and then they return to normal. After coming to their senses, they ask those around them if they saw the figures in black. Normal people cannot see them. It would be a serious problem if they could. But these individuals can see and sense them. There's another kind of situation. Some people are usually quiet, not fond of joking or being boisterous. But somehow they suddenly start spinning in place, crying, laughing, causing a ruckus, and sweating profusely. There are even some who suddenly crawl on the ground like snakes, or some who walk like ducks. Suddenly, a living human turns into an animal. Their demeanor and actions become exactly like an animal's, completely different from a human's. They exhibit these manifestations from time to time. Isn't this bizarre? Aren't these bizarre manifestations supernatural? These manifestations are very supernatural. Supernatural means abnormal, beyond natural or normal circumstances. This is called supernatural. It's out of the ordinary, different from the normal manifestations of ordinary people. It's abnormal. This is called being bizarre, supernatural, abnormal. Of course, these manifestations have nothing to do with being extreme, but judging from the nature of being bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal, these manifestations have a deviant essence and do not conform to the manifestations of normal, corrupt humans of the flesh. Normal humans of the flesh are limited, restrained, and controlled by human instincts, free will, normal thinking, reason, and the various normal human abilities. But these bizarre, supernatural, abnormal manifestations in those who are devils have already transcended the scope of normal human instincts, free will, abilities, normal thinking, and normal reason. That is, they are no longer controlled by normal humanity. They are out of control. Being out of control means acting abnormally. One sees in them some unusual manifestations and practices that normal people shouldn't exhibit. This means such people are not controlled by normal reason, normal thinking, or free will, but are controlled and driven by something external or some evil spirit, causing them to do things that transcend normal humanity, things that are unfathomable, perplexing, and even creepy to others. This is called being bizarre, supernatural, abnormal. Tell me, aren't these manifestations deviant? These bizarre manifestations can certainly be called deviant. Those reincarnated from devils have many bizarre manifestations. For example, some people often hear someone inexplicably speaking to them, but others cannot hear it. They also frequently hear a voice in their minds conversing with them, instructing them to do this or that. Some can always see things that normal people cannot see or sense. They say, "I saw a troop of soldiers passing by on the road, numbering 300 to 500, if not 1,000 or 2,000, with cannons and tanks. It was quite a commotion." Others cannot see these things, but they can. We are not concerned with whether what they see is factual or a phenomenon from the spiritual realm. The very fact that they can see these things is highly unusual. Why do I say it's unusual? Why do I say this is a manifestation of deviance? Because any sense organ of a normal person created by God has certain limits to what it can perceive, whether it's the surrounding environment or the people, events, and things around them. They're all perceived within the range achievable by the instincts of the flesh. Whether it's what can be seen, heard, smelled, or felt by the flesh, there are limits. What do these limits refer to? They refer to being restricted to the scope of the material world. Why then did God give people such sense organs? It is so that anything not belonging to the material world, whether it's a positive or negative thing from the spiritual realm, does not interfere with people's lives, does not interfere with any of people's sense organs, and does not affect people's order and patterns of life in the material world. Therefore, humans live in this material world, and regardless of what else exists outside the material world, God will not allow you to see, hear, or sense these things beyond the scope of your fleshly sense organs. This is to protect your mind and reason from interference by any beings outside the material world, allowing you to live normally. As long as a person's mind and reason are normal, their free will function normally, their judgment will be normal, and all aspects of their innate human conditions will remain in their original state, undamaged. What does undamaged refer to? It means your nervous system, your sense organs, your caliber, and all other aspects of your innate conditions are normal and sound within the scope of fleshly life. When the mind and reason are normal, all these aspects of a person will be normal and will be able to maintain their original state. If what a person's sense organs can perceive exceeds the range achievable by the flesh and is no longer bound by this constraint, then problems will arise with their mind and reason. They will be influenced, damaged, and disturbed by things from outside the material world. Then problems will arise with their nerves, and their minds will become disordered. What kind of situation will this lead to? They will become mentally ill. They will go mad, talk nonsense, run around shamelessly, crying and causing a ruckus. Such a person is then completely ruined. What does being ruined refer to? It means something else has entered the person's heart, disturbing and damaging their mind and reason, causing their heart not to be controlled by normal reason, but by some other sort of thing. Once that other thing controls a person, the outward manifestation, medically speaking, is schizophrenia. Once a person has schizophrenia, are they still a normal person? They are no longer a normal person, and God will not work on such people. Understood? What role do the free will, normal thinking, and conscience and reason that God gives to people play for them? Don't they play the role of protecting people's minds and reason? Playing the role of protecting people's minds and reason is equivalent to playing the role of protecting people. They ensure people's mental state and reason are normal, not interfered with by things outside the material world, nor disturbed by any sounds or images from outside the material world. This allows people to believe in God peacefully and live normally, and ensures their personal safety. This is a good thing. But those filled with bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal manifestations do not possess the free will, normal thinking, and conscience and reason of normal people. Anytime, anywhere, they can see bizarre things or scenes invisible to ordinary people, hear sounds inaudible to ordinary people, or do things ordinary people cannot do, exhibiting bizarre behaviors. People around them cannot understand it and are unable to see through to the essence of such matters. This type of person is reincarnated from a devil. They are not part of humankind. It's not that Satan captured them later in life. Rather, this type of person is essentially a devil. Simply put, the mind and reason of someone who is a devil are not normal from birth. That is, their free will, thinking, and reason are all unsound. Even if they receive education, they do not possess these things of normal humanity. You see them speaking relatively normally in typical circumstances when they are not having an episode, but this doesn't mean they are normal people. Their having these bizarre manifestations shows they are not normal people, but non-human, devils. These uncanny, supernatural, and abnormal manifestations of theirs are not learned from anyone, nor are they transmitted by anyone. How did they come about then? They are innate. Such a person's attribute is that of a devil. What does having the attribute of a devil mean? There are two meanings. The first meaning is that this type of person is reincarnated from a devil. The second is that they are born without a human spirit and are later possessed by a devil. In short, the nature essence of such people is that of a devil, not of a human. Precisely because they are not human, their sense organs and all aspects of their innate conditions are different and distinct from those of normal people. In terms of sense organs, they can often sense things that normal people cannot sense, see, or hear. In terms of the instincts of the flesh, the things they do or say, some of their manifestations, often make people feel they exceed the scope of normal human instincts. They are very supernatural. What does supernatural mean? It means transcending the instincts of the flesh. Normal people cannot exceed the range achievable by the instincts of the flesh, but these individuals do so easily. They are not controlled or limited by the instincts of the flesh. So, naturally, they often exhibit bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal behaviors or practices. Are you clear about the essence of this type of person now? Do you envy this type of person? Is envying them a good thing? Some people say, "Look, they can speak in tongues during prayer. We can't understand or speak it. And they know several languages without learning them. They never get sick, don't feel hungry after days without food, and don't feel tired after days without sleep." Others say, "This guy is capable. He can look into the past and predict the future, knows everything from astronomy to geography, can read people's fates from their faces, and can tell fortunes. No matter what a person looks like, he knows their fate at a glance. He's truly a master. At night, you see him sleeping, but actually, he's gone to Hades to work as a servant." Some people envy this type of person for their abilities. Isn't envying such people foolish? Have you ever envied these supernatural people with special powers, saying, "I don't have any special powers. If only I knew a little magic. If it were hot and I wanted ice cream, with just a wave of my hand, I could conjure up some ice cream bars. Chocolate, strawberry, whatever flavor I wanted." Have you ever had such thoughts? Everyone has childish thoughts. When people see clearly that these thoughts are wrong, they can naturally let them go. God just wants normal people to experience life, taste life, experience life's joys and sorrows, its various hardships and frustrations, and in the process of experiencing, appreciate God's sovereignty. Recognize the various incorrect attitudes created beings have toward the Creator, and then return to the right path, achieving worship of God and submission to God's sovereignty and arrangements. When people have these experiences of life, they will come to realize the fact that the Creator holds sovereignty over human destiny, then acknowledge, believe in, and submit to the fact that the Creator holds sovereignty over human destiny. Afterward, they can return to the right path and be proper created beings. Don't live according to any unrealistic thoughts. Those things will never become reality. Those supernatural, bizarre, and abnormal things are forever the exclusive domain of Satan's and devils. They have nothing to do with normal humans. Therefore, no matter when, don't ever think of becoming a supernatural person, a person full of special powers, nor think of exceeding your own instincts or your own limits. Just be an ordinary person with your feet on the ground, keep to your rightful place, and fulfill your duty. This is what people ought to do. Are the manifestations of bizarreness in those who are devils basically clear now? These are some manifestations that are the most severe. They clearly make people feel and realize that such people are not of the same kind as normal people. They appear highly aberrant among normal people. This aberrance makes people feel that their behavior and demeanor, as well as their various manifestations in daily life, are particularly bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal. They are just different from those of ordinary people. They are not limited by the instincts of the flesh, and they cannot restrain their irrational behaviors, and seem to be without any awareness at all, as if they are possessed by evil spirits. This should be characterized as one aspect of the deviant nature essence of devils, something people should reject. These supernatural and abnormal things should not be envied, much less pursued. If you once intended to pursue being a supernatural person or to do these supernatural things, then hit the brakes. Turn around, and the shore is at hand. Do not plan on being such a person. Once you embark upon this path, and a devil creeps into your mind, God will no longer want you, and you will be ruined. Why do I say you will be ruined? Because once a devil possesses you and controls your mind, you will come to no good end. Once a devil possesses you, it begins to interfere with you, disturbing your thoughts and your mind. It takes part in your daily life, and it takes part in your thought process when considering people, events, and things. If you cannot refuse its interference, you will gradually lose your volition, and in the end, you will meekly submit. When a devil completely controls you, in medical terms, you will be diagnosed as schizophrenic. And in God's house, you will be sentenced to death. You will be finished, ruined. Is someone diagnosed as schizophrenic a normal person?
No.
Does God still want such a person? In God's eyes, what kind of person is this? In God's eyes, you have been captured by Satan. This might sound a bit abstract. To put it plainly, It means Satan controls your heart. It means that Satan reigns over and holds power in your heart, and that you've become Satan's puppet. This means you've been captured by Satan. Once someone is captured by Satan, they become the same as those who are devils, and they quickly become bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal. Such people are beyond saving. What do I mean by this? I'm telling you that you need to have discernment regarding the bizarre manifestations of those who are devils. After gaining discernment, you must stay away from such people and not get close to them. No matter what they say or do not engage. Don't take them seriously. For example, suppose they speak of something you absolutely cannot see or sense. Their purpose in telling you this is to get close to you and to lure you in. If you feel curious and fervently envy and follow them, then you are in great danger. Why do I say you are in danger? Because this is Satan misleading and luring people, and seeking souls it can devour. If you have no discernment towards Satan whatsoever, and still feel curious and envious, you have already succumbed to temptation, and it's very likely that Satan will seize the opportunity to work on you. Therefore, you are in great danger. You approach Satan without any guardedness. Isn't this stupid? When Satan sees you don't have any guardedness toward it will incessantly try to tease and entice you like a rogue. If you don't refuse, it assumes you're giving tacit consent, so it will proceed to do more. If you always feel curious about the bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal things spoken by those who are Satan's, and even ask and inquire about them, doesn't this prove you are interested in and not repulsed by such things? Being interested in such things is not a good sign. If you are interested in these things, in Satan's eyes, it means you are not interested in God, the truth, or positive things. This delights it, and naturally, it will happily extend a friendly hand to you, intending to get to work on you. In this way, you are in danger. Therefore, when encountering such people, do not casually get close to them, and do not become interested in them. Instead, you should have discernment, guard against them, and distance yourself from them. Some people say, if we don't approach or take an interest in them, how can we discern them? As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. If we don't infiltrate the enemy, how can we know ourselves and know our enemy? Is this statement correct? It's like when a pandemic breaks out. Some scientists and researchers insist on getting their hands on and studying the virus, and as a result, some end up contracting the virus themselves and dying. Therefore, you must strictly guard against those devils who exhibit bizarre and supernatural manifestations. It is better to be overly cautious than to give them a chance to harm you. This is the smart way to practice. For one thing, don't take an interest in them, and don't contact or get close to them. For another, don't pursue or emulate the bizarre, supernatural manifestations of theirs. This is also how you should practice. If you frequently come into contact with these supernatural, bizarre, and abnormal people, and in your unguardedness, you become influenced by them, and you constantly hear about and see their manifestations. Unconsciously, their bizarre manifestations will be preserved in your heart and memory. Then, without being aware of it, you will want to pursue and imitate them. This is an even more dangerous signal. Once you want to pursue and imitate them, that means the defenses of your heart have completely collapsed. This is equivalent to you agreeing to let Satan enter your heart to control and take possession of you. In this, you are handing yourself over to Satan, and in this way, Satan can quickly take control of you. Then aren't you ruined? It's truly difficult for people to give their hearts to God. It's not easy for God to hold power in people's hearts. God does not easily take charge and hold power in people's hearts. The work God does on humankind involves watering, shepherding, enlightening, illuminating, guiding, and protecting them based on their innate conditions. Additionally, God disciplines, chastens, chastises, and judges them, while also setting up all sorts of situations for people. This allows them, as they grow older, to gradually gain knowledge of God's work and various aspects of the truth in objective situations. Then, gradually, according to the thinking of normal humanity, God's words and the truth are made to take root in their hearts and become their life, and thus, these people come to be gained by God. There is a process to all of this. But Satan's misleading and corrupting of people is different. Why do we say that Satan's essence is deviant? It forcibly possesses and controls people. This aspect is enough to prove that Satan's essence is deviant. This is concrete proof. When you want to pursue being the type of person who is a devil, and when you pursue these bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal manifestations, behaviors, and abilities, your heart opens up to Satan. This is as if in your heart you are telling Satan, "Come in, I have a place reserved for you. You can control my whole being." What will Satan say to you? If you listen to me and allow me to hold power in your heart, you can learn everything you want to possess. You will have all bizarre supernatural things. You will surpass ordinary people, and you will transcend common people. People's pursuit of these bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal behaviors and manifestations or abilities is equivalent to them conversing with Satan, and it is also equivalent to them embracing Satan in their hearts. If you pursue these bizarre, supernatural things, Satan will quickly begin to work in your heart. At this point, when you listen to God's words again, you will no longer have the thoughts, views, and attitudes of a normal person, but will have made a 180-degree turn. Your attitude toward the truth will be completely different from that of a normal person. What you manifest will be aversion to the truth and hostility toward the truth. That's how it is. If you are averse to and hostile toward the truth, can you still gain the truth? You cannot. You have been captured by Satan. Therefore, regarding the bizarre, supernatural, and abnormal manifestations of those reincarnated from devils, people must strictly guard against them, treat them with caution and prudence, and not dismiss them as unimportant. That is, you must have discernment toward these manifestations. Do not take an interest in them or get close to such people. much less secretly envy, admire, or even pursue and imitate them in your heart. Instead, you must stay away from this type of person, have discernment toward them, have a clear stance, and draw a clear boundary between them and yourself. Understood?